Hello everyone, good morning. Yesterday we discussed about wool and its processing. In different steps we discussed in that, like shearing, scoring, carding, dyeing. Okay. So today we will discuss about silk. Silk is another animal fiber that we obtained from silkworm. Okay. Silkworms are the larva or caterpillar of the silk moths. Okay, silk has the following characteristics: it is shiny, it is strong, flexible, and lightweight. A strand of silk is as strong as similar sized filament of the steel. It is elastic and resist creasing. Okay, it is poor conductor of heat. It is poor conductor of heat. Silk fabric therefore keeps us warm when it is cold. It resists dust. Okay, the life cycle of a silk moth, silkworm. We'll discuss now the life cycle of silk moth. Silkworms spins silk fiber at a particular stage of their life cycle. The following are the stages of the life cycle of a silk moth. Egg stage first will be the female silk moth lays hundreds of eggs on the leaves of mulberry tree. Okay, they hatch in about 7 to 14 days. It will take a time around 1 week to 2 weeks. Larval stage, the eggs hatch into larvae or caterpillar that are the silkworms. The caterpillars feed on mulberry leaves and grows in size over 3 to 4 weeks. The caterpillar sheds its skin 4 times during this phase. As it grows bigger in size, this process is called molting. Okay, pupal stage. Once the caterpillar is mature, it stops feeding and begins to turn into pupa. The pupa secretes a thin, continuous filament like substances from its salivary glands. The substance is made of a protein that hardens when exposed to air. This hardened secretion becomes silk fiber. The pupa swings its head from the side to side in the form of the figure of 8 and spins around itself a case of silk fiber called cocoon. The color of the cocoon depend on what the silkworm eats. Okay. Adult stage. The pupa continues to develop inside the cocoon for about 15 days and grows a moth. Finally, the fully formed moth pierces open and cocoons and emerges. The lifespan of the adult is only about 3 to 10 days. Okay, matting, you can see laying eggs, hatching, feeding, caterpillar, cocoon formation, moth, and adult moth. You can see the life cycle of a moth. Now the sericulture, the rearing of silkworm for the production of silk is called sericulture. Silkworms on a bamboo tray, you can see in figure 3.19. The rearing of silkworm for the production of silk is called sericulture. To obtain silk, silkworms are reared and silk fiber is extracted from their cocoon and processed. The rearing of silkworms and production of silk involves the following steps. The hundreds of eggs laid by a female silk moth, hundreds of eggs laid by a female silk moth are collected on strips of cloth or paper. Collected on strips of cloth or paper. They are kept under suitable conditions of temperature and humidity to help them hatch. The silkworms that hatch from the eggs are placed in clean bamboo trays that are lined with fresh mulberry leaves. The silkworms are fed mulberry leaves about 20 to 25 to 30 days. Newspaper are spread over the trays to absorb excess moisture from the leaves. The tray are cleaned regularly. Every few days, silkworm grows and molt 4 times. Okay. When mature, the silkworm stops eating and begin to spin cocoon. They are shifted to bamboo tray that have small chambers or frames. Each silkworm spins its cocoon in a part of the frame. The spinning of the cocoons takes 3 to 7 days. Silk moths develops inside these cocoons. Okay, silk is extracted and processed from the cocoons in the following way. The silkworms' cocoons are sorted according to their color, size, shape, and texture. Okay, they usually range from white and yellow to grayish in color. The cocoons are either exposed to steam, heated in an oven, or carefully boiled in water. This process kills the pupa before they can emerge from cocoon by cutting through the fiber. Serikin is a natural gum that holds Sericulture is a natural gum that holds the silk fibers together. Boiling the cocoon separates the silk fibers from each other. This process is called degumming. Okay, the cocoons are taken out of water and silk fibers extracted by a process called reeling. Reeling involves carefully unwinding the continuous strand of silk and makes the cocoon as a single unbroken thread. Cocoon single unbroken thread. Reeling is naturally or usually done in special machines. Okay, as silk strand is too fine to use, 3 to 10 strands from different cocoons are reeled together to produce a silk thread of suitable thickness. This silk is called reeled silk. The silk is dyed in different colors. It is then spun into yarns which can be woven into silk fabric. Silk yarn from which serine has not been removed by boiling is called raw silk. Raw silk is lustrous but has a coarse texture also. Okay. Now, what are the occupational hazards, or what are the hazards that a person suffers who works in silk industry? Are handling cocoon in boiling water by hand without wearing gloves can cause skin to peel off or forms blisters which can lead to the skin infections. The vapors from boiling cocoons and fumes of diesel and the strong chemicals used for dyeing silk fibers can cause irritation in eyes, skin infections, and respiratory problems also. The types of silk, there are different types of silk moths used in sericulture. The properties of silk fiber produced produced various depending on the silk moth. Mulberry silk, types of silk we are discussing. Mulberry silk, the moth most commonly used for sericulture is mulberry silk, both Bombyx mori. Its larvae feed only on mulberry leaves, hence the silk they produce is named mulberry silk. This silk is soft, shiny, and strong. Okay. Tassar silk, second type of silk, it is obtained from silkworm. Anthrea, Anthraeria mylitta. This silkworm mainly grows on Arjun and Asan trees. Tassar silk is generally light brown with a rough texture. It is usually not as shiny as mulberry. It is used in making furnishings. Okay, next is Kosa silk. It is obtained from silkworms that feed on sal, saja, or arjun trees. This silk is soft, shiny, making it a popular choice for use in clothing, especially traditional Indian saris. Moga silk. Moga silk. It is obtained from the silkworm Anthracitia asaminis. These silks feed on the leaves of salu and som plants. These silk produced in golden yellow in color. Next is eri silk. It is obtained from it is obtained from Philosamia ricini. It is also known as coaster silkworm as it feeds on coaster plants. The silk product produced is white or brick red in color. China is the largest producer of silk in the world, while India ranks second. Okay, now the concept mapping what we studied till now. We started with the animal fibers, wool and silk. We started discussion. Wool we obtained from sheep, goat, yak, and camel, and the processing of silk involves shearing, scoring, shorting, gardening, dyeing, spinning, weaving, and knitting. Okay, and in case of silk, we discussed it. The types of silk are mulberry, tassar, muga, kosa, and eri. And silk obtained from silkworm. The life cycle of silkworm involves eggs, larva, pupa, cocoon, and the moth or the adult silk. And the processing of silk involves rearing of silkworms known as sericulture, boiling of cocoons, reeling, dyeing, and weaving. Okay, and then the keywords: selective breeding, the process by which parents that have useful characteristics are selected and breed to get offsprings that have the desired characteristics. Next is shearing, the process by which the flesh or the hair of the sheep is removed. Scoring, the process by which the seared hair is treated to remove dirt, dust, and grease. Shorting, the process of hair by which hairs of different textures from flesh are separated from each other. Guarding, the grouping of hair fibers based on their length, fineness, color, texture, and other characteristics. Sericulture, the rearing of silkworm for the production of silk. Degumming, the process of boiling silkworm cocoons to separate silk fibers from each other is called degumming. Reeling, the process by which continuous strand of silk that makes up a silkworm cocoon is unwound as a single unbroken thread, okay, known as reeling. Occupational hazards, any risk of injury, disease, or other health problem that a worker in an industry may face are known as occupational hazards. Okay, dear students, in this way we are able to revise this chapter. So, uh, do the revision of this chapter and try to revise exercise questions that will help out you to understand the concepts in a better way. So feel free whenever you face any difficulty in any of the term that you studied or any chapter you discussed. Thank you, dear students. Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye bye.